What if I told you one of the most valuable digital assets in the world isn't just a coin you can trade, but it's actually the fuel for a massive, sprawling digital nation? Well, that's pretty much the story of BNB. It started out as, believe it or not, a simple discount coupon, but it has morphed into something way, way more powerful. So how'd that happen? Let's dig in. Yeah, you're seeing that right. At its peak, BNB's market cap blew past $100 billion. I mean, that is just an absolutely insane number for something a lot of people wrote off as just an exchange token. How on earth did it get here? And what's really driving all that value? That's exactly what we're going to break down. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to walk through how BNB evolved from this tiny idea into a crypto giant. Then we're going to pop the hood on its value engine, see how it stacks up against some really tough competition, navigate the pretty serious risks it's facing, and finally, take a look at its super ambitious roadmap for the future. So first up, let's go right back to the beginning. The journey of BNB is honestly a masterclass in how to evolve a project. It was this deliberate, calculated transformation from a simple little tool into the actual lifeblood of a blockchain. This right here, this is the secret sauce. BNB basically has a dual identity. It lives in two different worlds at the exact same time. On one hand, it's a tool for the huge centralized Binance exchange, getting you discounts on trading fees and stuff. But on the other hand, it's the decentralized fuel, the gas, that powers the entire BNB chain, which is its own separate blockchain with thousands of apps and services running on it. This dual personality is absolutely key to understanding its success. And look, its growth was no accident. It was all part of the plan. Back in 2017, it started on Ethereum for about 10 cents. A couple years later, boom, it gets its own blockchain. But the real game changer was 2020 with a BNB Smart Chain. That one move opened the floodgates to the world of DeFi and smart contracts, and that's what paved the way for it to eventually rocket past $100 billion in value. Okay, so this evolution brings us right to the heart of it all, the value engine. What is it that actually makes BNB so valuable? Because it's not just hype. There's a really carefully designed system here based on massive utility and, get this, increasing scarcity. The thing is, the demand for BNB is just relentless, and it's because it's coming from all these different directions. Yeah, sure, you've got the trading discounts, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. You need BNB for exclusive token sales. It's the gas you have to pay for every single transaction on its blockchain. You can stake it to earn rewards, use it as collateral for loans and DeFi, and even use it to pay for stuff with Binance Pay. This crazy diversity creates this constant, real demand for the coin. So you have all that utility driving demand, and then you have scarcity being engineered through something they call the auto-burn. Now, this is really clever. Every single quarter, a whole chunk of BNB is just permanently destroyed. And the amount isn't random. It's tied to how busy the network is and the price of the coin. So think about that. The more people use the network, the more BNB is literally removed from existence. The end goal is to cut the total supply in half. And we're not talking about a small amount here. This isn't just some theory. Over 62 million BNB tokens are already gone. Poof, forever. In an industry where new tokens are being minted all the time, BNB is actually designed to become more rare. And that, my friends, is a powerful economic force. But of course, BNB doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is locked in a battle royale with other major blockchains. And this is where we see one of the biggest, most fundamental trade-offs in this entire space. Okay, just look at this chart. The numbers don't lie. When it comes to speed and cost, BNB Chain crushes Ethereum. We're talking hundreds of transactions per second for just a few cents. It's not even a contest. But, and this is a huge but, look at decentralization. BNB Chain gets all that speed by relying on just 21 validators. Compare that to Ethereum's army of nearly 1 million. So here's the takeaway. BNB makes a very conscious choice to sacrifice decentralization for raw speed and low fees. And that choice, that more centralized design and its deep, deep ties to the Binance exchange, well, that leads us directly into the biggest storm cloud hanging over BNB's head, regulators. And man, did the lightning strike. In 2023, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, sued Binance, and a core part of their argument was that BNB was an illegal, unregistered security. The market freaked out instantly. That one headline perfectly captures the most serious, existential threat that BNB faces. So let's just be really clear about the risks here. First, that regulatory hammer could still come down hard. Second, The centralized design creates real concerns about security and censorship. Third, BNB's value is almost completely tied to the reputation and success of the Binance exchange. And finally, the competition is just brutal and getting tougher every single day. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. In late 2023, Binance settled with the U.S. Department of Justice for a jaw-dropping $4.3 billion. Now, you'd think that would be catastrophic, right? But for the market, it was almost a sigh of relief. Why? Because markets hate uncertainty more than anything else. As painful as that fine was, it took this giant unknown risk off the table and let everyone see a clear path forward. So after weathering that massive storm, Binance and the BNB chain are now looking straight ahead to the future. And what does that road look like? In a word, ambitious. It's all about getting faster, smarter, and just way easier for everyone to use. The tech roadmap is aiming for some pretty wild stuff. They want sub-second block times, which is basically instantaneous. They're working to put AI agents directly into your crypto wallet. I mean, imagine your wallet not just holding your coins, but actively helping you find opportunities. They're also beefing up security and expanding a cool feature called MegaFuel, which would let you pay transaction fees in other tokens, not just BNB. That's a huge deal for new users. And on top of that tech, there are some powerful tailwinds. That token burn we talked about, it's not stopping. We're seeing the very first hints of governments and big institutions getting interested. Countries like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are reportedly looking at it. The number of apps on the chain just keeps growing. And if they can finally get clear regulatory approval in major markets, well, that could unlock a massive new wave of users and investment. And all of this brings us to the final and most critical question. BNB is at this fascinating crossroads. It's the engine for a decentralized world, yet its fate is so deeply connected to a single, centralized company. Can it truly become a neutral, foundational pillar of the next internet? Or will its connection to Binance always define its destiny? That right there is the multi-billion-dollar question that will shape its entire future.